The Kerbylon project was a dream given form. Its mission, to slip the surly bonds of Kerbal, to explore outer space, to reach for the horizon, to seek to strive, to never fall, to not go quietly into that good night. This is the Kerbylon project. Okay, so I stepped away from the computer for a bit while this thing was launching, and it seems to be doing quite well. I'm launching it up to 100 kilometers, because then once I'm in a stable orbit at 100 kilometers, then I can rendezvous with the space dock. I don't want to actually go up to the same height as it, because then if I'm lagging behind it or I'm ahead of it, it's going to be tricky to actually intercept it. By establishing a lower orbit, I'll be going around the planet faster than the space dock. So whether it's ahead or behind, I'll eventually catch up with it and can then transition to it. Now I'm going to manually stage here when that periapse gets up, otherwise this thing's going to end up in orbit. Right, periapse is going positive in a moment, and I'm going to press space when I see it reach about 50. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Yeah, well, odds are that's not going to be in a stable orbit, but I really must remember to cut thrust before I eject stuff like that. Oh, okay, so this thing is, whoa, kill rotation. Actually, I'm going to check on the orbit of that debris. Where is it? Did I press it too late? Oh, look at that. It's all over the shop. Oh well. Might have to clean that up later. Let me just circularize at my current orbit, because that will make the rendezvous easier. Eccentricity is pretty good, inclination's pretty good. There we go, nice circular orbit. So, now I can use the rendezvous module and say that I want to rendezvous with the vessel orbital construction dock. Now, does this thing do it automatically? I thought it did. Let me kill that rotation before my Kerbals die and black out. Rendezvous module. Ah, interesting. I thought this thing would automatically get me there. It's possible it isn't going to. Relative inclination, distance, relative velocity, time to AN, time to DN. I do not know what AN and DN is. Okay, so I was taking a guess there, and what I've done is I've accelerated until time to DN was... Okay, so I accelerated until time to DM was close to 0. I'm now going to raise my apoapse to 250. Because I'm thinking that that might be how I can rendezvous. But I am just guessing. The interesting thing I've just noticed here on my orbital information panel is there's a second row of figures which appears to be the numbers for my target for the orbital construction dock. So I'm hoping that if I speed up time now, we'll see this thing go around and appear in this thing's orbit pretty close to it. Because at the moment it's travelling a lot faster. See, my velocity is 2347, its velocity is only 2038. So on this part of the path I'll be going faster than it. so I might catch up with it. Let's warp until just before our apoapsis, and we'll watch this. Didn't quite catch up with it the way I hoped. Maybe AN was the number I should have been waiting for rather than DN. Ah, my smart ASS has gained some extra buttons as well. Relative velocity. Is this something to do with my target? So I can point towards it if I want? Well, I think I've got plenty of fuel in this thing. So this is an important thing to learn, is how to do an orbital rendezvous. And, you know, so the first thing we're going to do is we're going to work out how to do this orbital rendezvous using these automatic systems, you know, if they are automatic systems. So first, I think I want to recircularize my orbit back at my periaps. So 10. Actually, it always needs time to point itself in the right direction. So I'm going to walk back to my periaps. And circularize, because there's no point trying to catch up with it while I'm at the same height as it. So this seems the best thing. So I will circularize at that height. Okay, so this time we'll try thrusting. Hang on, make sure we're pointing prograde and not spinning out of control. This time I'm going to try thrusting when AN is at 0. We'll see what that does for us, because DN was nowhere close. Oh, no. Don't mean to thrust, I mean to speed up time. There we go, time warp. Okay, we're at ×1. Spaceship's getting back into position. And I will start thrusting. Alright, so once again we're getting our apoaps up to the level of this thing. Now this actually looks like a better angle, because we're there and that's there, and based on how far we were lagging behind it when the last time we did this, there's a good chance. Okay, overshot it slightly. Not too bad though, not too bad. If I just retrograde and bring that back. So I'm now already on my intercept path. I just want to make sure that I don't overshoot it. I realise that this video is mainly just looking at numbers, but that's what space travel is. We're all learning. Okay. So now if I time warp to my apoaps, hopefully we'll be pretty close to the construction dock. Nope, that hasn't done it either. We're still way behind it. I'm going to have to look up how to use the rendezvous module, because I obviously don't know. How are we doing on the fuel? Tons of fuel. We could do this all day. Right, back to the periaps. Okay, I think I'm just going to have to judge this a bit more manually. So, this is our current locations. So let me speed up time a bit until I catch up. or until I've almost caught up. Okay, I'm going to try raising my apoapse at this point to match its 250. And we'll speed up time and see how close we get. I suspect we're going to end up quite a bit ahead, unfortunately. Yeah, okay. Still, we're closer. According to the Rendezvous module, the distance is only 140 kilometers now, so what I'm going to do is actually put myself into a slightly higher orbit. That way I'll go slower and it will catch up with me. I think I just need to get within about 10 kilometers of it, and then I can actually start direct thrusting. How are we doing for fuel? Okay. Okay, so prograde, and we'll raise our apoapse to 10 kilometers more. So I'm circularizing at 260. And what's happened? Has the game crashed? Oh, whoa, whoa, okay. Alright, kill rotation, kill rotation. What happened there? Something happened. Okay, and as we can see, if I speed up time a little bit, the distance is dropping because... Let me... Oh, I did not mean to do that. I just wanted to recenter on it. There we go. Because we're on a higher... Construction Dock 2. Kill rotation. Because we are on a higher orbit, we're travelling slightly slower than the space dock. So, the distance between us is slowly dropping. Come on, let me move this. There we go. So if I time warp, we can follow this round, and that number will keep getting lower. Now if I put myself in a slightly higher orbit, it would get closer even quicker, but... Kerbals are nothing if not patient, and luckily we ourselves do not have to be patient, we can just use the time warp facility. So I'm going to wait until this is right on us. $30 kilometers, 20. Okay, we're approaching 10 kilometers. Right, so now at this point I'm going to drop my periapse to match its orbit again. So thrusting backwards, dropping my periapse to match it. A little more. Okay, my periapse is now within 4 kilometers of its orbit. We'll now warp to the periapse and then circularize, and we'll see how close we are. Oh, unfortunately the distance has gone up in that time. Retrograde. Right, how close are we? 25 kilometers. I went too far ahead of it, didn't I? Okay. Well, we're pointing retrograde, so... hang on, no. If I'm too far ahead of it, I need to raise my orbit again. We're getting closer. I'm sure I'll get better at this. But, I mean, I could be doing all the aimings and steerings manually. But that doesn't actually change what it is you need to do. It just makes it takes longer. Okay, so that's my apoapse is now going higher. So I'm going to manually time warp this, because I want to see whether this thing's going to start catching up with me. Oh, hang on, hang on, hang on. I'm behind it. That's no good, I'm behind it. I've done this the wrong way, haven't I? Okay, I need to lower my orbit. I think I was getting mixed up because they're both called Orbital Construction Dock, but that's Orbital Construction Dock 2. Okay. Lowering my periaps to 245. And we'll speed up. So at the moment it's still going to get further away from me because my orbit's higher. But my orbit should cross over and get closer to Kerbin in a moment. Okay, so it got as far as 41 kilometers away from me, and now I'm going to start to catch up with it again. Don't want to miss my periaps. Okay, I've circularized my orbit in closer. Let's point prograde ready for when we need to raise again. So now I should speed up time and we should catch up with it. I mean, I should be able to get within 5 kilometers of it via this method. Okay, we're pretty close now. So, can we actually just thrust towards it? Right, now there's something here which is target positive, which I think just points my spaceship at the target. There it is, so I'm going to try thrusting. Now, if it gets in, now if I get close to it and then just hit circularize, I think I should match its relative speeds and velocities. Relative velocity. I don't know what some of these other buttons do. Some of them frighten me. See, I'm knocking my orbit completely out of whack doing this. So it's not the most fuel efficient method of getting in close. But I'm gonna just go for it. Once he's when he's within a kilometer, I'm gonna hit circularize. Look at my apoapse, that's just like going all over the place. Hey, the actual name has appeared. Getting ready to hit circularize button. And circularize. This needs to kick in pretty quick. Come on. Before it gets away from me. Okay, so essentially I had a really wonky orbit because of all that stuff. Apoapс was like up there in the 500s and the periaps was practically in the atmosphere. Oh, it's getting away from me. I should have hit circularize a lot earlier. Okay, we're ahead of it in a higher orbit. That was a lot too aggressive, wasn't it? So the distance is dropping. I couldn't actually find any instructions on how the rendezvous module actually works, by the way. So that's why I'm having to sort of stumble my way through this. I want to match the orbit. So, retrograde. Let's lower my periaps. And speed up time. Starting to get away from me. Let's try something here. I'm going to lower my periaps more. Because I'm thinking that that means that they might cross over quicker. See, they're crossing over there. The more I thrust, the closer the crossover gets. Let's just lower it to 200. Because he's outdistancing me again. I almost had it, and then I just tried thrusting straight at him. I somehow knew that that was not the right approach, but... We're going to run out of fuel? We might do. I might have to self-destruct this and start again. I've just noticed that my inclination is quite a bit off, so I need to see about re-angling my orbit. Apologise for those pauses. Okay, so spin around, thrust the other way. Get my inclination going the other way. Of course, the time I spent doing that means I've ended up too far ahead of him again. I knew orbital docking, orbital rendezvous was tricky, but I thought with these tools it would be a little easier than this. Okay, so I've put my orbit as exactly in line, angle-wise, as I could. And I've now set my orbit, my apoapsis, etc. Retrograde, no, point towards target. To be 1 kilometre higher. So it should slowly catch up with me and get within 1 kilometre. I think the problem last time is I was like 7 kilometres away when I started thrusting towards it, so by the time I reached it, I'd messed my own orbit up. Absolutely something chronic. So this thing is pointing towards it. So I'm not thrusting yet, this is just my orbits bringing me closer.
We have to go to Baghdad, Secretary.
See how close this gets us. Okay, it's still catching me up, I think. Let's slow this down. Right, so we're watching that number. Okay, there we go. The number started to go up. So this is when I'm going to thrust. I'm wondering what this plus rev button. That increases relative velocity. This will decrease relative velocity. Okay, so that's thrusting in the same direction as it. What does plus and minus par do? Parallel. Okay. So thrust towards the target. Gently. And I'll get ready for a circularization burn. Hit circularize when I'm, well, whenever I think my orbit's getting too far out of whack, or when I'm within 500, whichever comes first. I don't want the required delta V's to circularize to get too high. I think I'll put a limit of 20 on that. Okay, circularizing the orbit. Okay, let's point back towards the target. And thrust again. There we go, we're catching up again now. Circularize the orbit. Still getting closer. Come on, circularize while we're still getting closer, please. Okay. Well, each time I do this, I'm getting a little bit closer. This is good. What happened there? Right, circularize, circularize. Oh dear, come on, come on, come on, please, please, please. I could have smashed into it there, couldn't I? Right, relative velocity. What do I need to do now? Ah! Okay. Let's actually activate one of these docking clamps. Where's your mech jeb? Why isn't your mech jeb working? Okay. Dock. Switch craft. Head towards target. Obviously I have to have the docking stuff ready to go. Dock. me away from the target. Because I need to... Damn it! Okay, shot too far the other way. Circularize the orbit, circularize the orbit. Okay. Point me at the target. Let's see whether or not we can just use the RCS thrusters. Give myself a bit of a kick to... No, this is... Okay, I've got to match its orbit, don't I? 250, 250... He won't let me do that. Apowaps. I'm panicking now. I can see it getting further and further away. Okay, so I've used the autopilot to do a rendezvous, and it's gotten pretty close. Now this is actually a rendezvous from launch, so let me go away, ascent, bring up the rendezvous module, vessels, construction dock, point to the target, because I'm not sure where it is anymore. There it is. Slowly getting away from me, but this is a brand new ship. The previous one I just had to abandon. So I'm going to try this relative velocity thing, because I think that's what I need in order to stop when I get close to this. So I'm going to thrust for a bit. I'm going to cut thrust at this point, but you see I still keep going towards it. But if I go relative velocity negative, I think that will reduce my relative velocity to the construction dock. So I'm going to wait till I'm a bit closer. Okay, 500 seems good. So now I thrust, and that reduces my relative velocity. Let's thrust a little quicker. I think this is how I'm supposed to be doing it, is I'm using the rendezvous module and these things to get in close without crashing. So my relative velocity is approaching 0, which means I should be with it nicely in orbit. There we go, okay. Let's activate the dock, point towards the target. And this time we're going to use our rocket thrusters. RCS. There we go, so I'm thrusting towards, and this is increasing my relative velocity now. I'm not sure what the scale the relative velocity is in. It's not in meters per second. So that's slowly bringing me in closer. Actually, now I know about relative velocity negative, I feel a little braver about using my main engines. So we'll get the relative velocity up. So I point myself, I wish it wouldn't do that jump thing. So pointing myself negative relative velocity. And let's drop that back to 0. So I'm hoping, well, okay, that I can just use my RCS thrusters now to move the rest of the way. Let's go up a little bit. And I have to remember that once I start thrusting in a direction, I'm going to keep moving in that direction unless I thrust the opposite way. So the way I think these docking beams work is, as I get close, they're going to start to latch onto each other, a bit like a tractor beam. So I don't want to rush this at this stage. I mean, okay, I could have... Actually, I still could. I could switch to that vessel and rotate it, so its docking port is actually facing towards me. So let's actually try and do that. Let's go relative velocity negative. Use the RCS motors to bring the relative velocities down again. At this stage I hesitate about using the main engines. Okay. Point at the target, because that's where the docking port is. So switch to the other vehicle. And let's just rotate this. Kill rotation. Can I yaw? Not sure which direction I'm heading. Okay, this way. And up a bit. That'll do. Kill rotation on that. Switch back to this vessel. Positive target. Can we translate sideways on this? Hang on, we're upside down. Okay. Thrust towards it. Very delicate operation. Need to go down. Okay, this is getting pretty close now. Let's just thrust. Let's thrust at him. Right, we've got some form of docking beam link up happening. Got to watch the relative velocities a bit. In fact, let's thrust back a bit. Ah, we're losing it. Relative velocity negative direction, please. I need to match speeds. Okay, I've just noticed that I'm actually latching onto other docking ports, which means maybe this one doesn't need to be open like that. This one does, though. Where's this one? Dock. There we go. Right. Okay. I'm telling it to move me parallel to the target. Wondering if that might help my translation. I'm just letting myself drift backwards until I'm parallel with it. Should have put some headlights on these things. And thrust forwards again to reduce the relative velocity. Right, let's point at him. Move closer. Doesn't matter if he rotates, because I think I'll just lock onto a different docking clamp. Okay, I'm 20 meters away. Let's point me parallel again, because he's drifting back a bit on me. Actually, I think I probably want to kill our relative velocity. Kill the relative velocity as best I can. And I'm going to try thrusting straight towards him again. Keep calling it him. It. I don't know how close you need to be for these things to activate. I'm so close. Starting to move away from him again, so I need to point myself and try and reduce the relative velocity again. I'm just so afraid that if I smash into him, it's all just going to blow up. Okay, we're drifting forwards at about 20 centimeters a second. That should be okay. I'm going to tell this thing to keep pointing at the target. Important point for the future is the target is the center of the target, so if you put your docking stuffs there, then that's slightly better. Go away, okay. We're 7 meters away and starting to go away. Okay, 8 meters and dropping. That looks hopeful. They've both gone blue. I think they're sucking each other in. I think this is it. I think we're about to have a successful dock. Let's see if I can kill rotation without this braking. Ooh. Maybe I should switch vessels. It's obviously the smaller thing is having trouble stopping the inertia of the larger vessel, but there we go. There we go. Let's switch. And make sure we kill rotation on this. There we go. My first actual dock. Okay, has this messed up the orbit at all? No, this thing is still in a pretty good orbit. I just need to do that 3 more times. But I'll do that off camera. I'll see you next time. Bye bye.